This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week.
It's Rutland Radio on May Day, and today it's the Braunston May Fair, and it's on between 10 and 4 today, including the crowning of the new May Queen, who is Emily Burniston, and she's on the phone right now. Emily, are you looking forward to today?
Yeah.
So tell me what's happening.
Well, the May Queen always gets crowned, and then you go in like a classic car, like an old classic car.
Ooh, sounds exciting.
And we go round the village.
Oh, excellent. Now, how did you come to be the May Queen?
Well, my sister Grace and my friend Sophie, we had to get pulled out the hat, I got pulled out the hat.
So you were the lucky one?
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. So you're all dressed up for it?
Not just yet. We're going to get dressed at, I think it's 3.
Right. So what time will the crowning be?
3. So I think we're getting changed at like 2:45.
What time's the crowning?
3.
At 3 o'clock this afternoon. Oh, we look forward to seeing you. Are you looking forward to the crowds giving you a nice big cheer?
Yeah.
Now, do you know what's happening at the May Fair today?
Yeah, there's like dog shows, there's duck racing, and there's like a street fair.
Oh, it sounds exciting. A good day today then, so you're looking forward to it?
Yeah.
All right, Emily, best of luck this afternoon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Rutland Radio.
Well, the Elfington Scarecrow Festival is here today and tomorrow in the village. I've been round, must have been about 50 scarecrows, actually. I'm here with Vanessa Kimberley and Nita Hassel, who've been some of the organisers here today. It takes a lot to pull this together, but I guess you get a lot of regular villagers who always put something out.
You'd be surprised how talented villagers are. You know, some people spend weeks doing it and look forward to it, and some scarecrows just appear on the day, and it's always delightful. The trail's amazing, the colours, the thought that they put into it. It's great. Good turnout.
Some thinking outside the box, aren't they? Some unusual ones this year. And
where does all the money go, the proceeds of today and tomorrow?
It gets divided between the charitable organisations in the village, so the church, the school, cricket club, Elfington Village Hall, and WI.
And it goes towards the capital projects.
Yes.
At the moment we need to replace the shed in the village hall, so all the furniture and the infrastructure that you see around the village is all stored in that village hall shed, and it's just beyond its purpose. So that's what this money raised for this year will go towards.
Now, the theme this year is numbers. I thought that was a really difficult theme, actually. I guess, you have to think outside the box and also, come up with a different theme each year anyway.
I've been in the village about 4 years, and it's always been literature-based or language-based. And a lot of people like numbers, a lot of small children, especially keen on numbers and sequences and things like that. So I thought numbers, and there was a bit of resistance at first, but once you think about it, numbers are everywhere. They're ordinal, cardinal, nominal numbers. And so, there was one lady, Sheila Croft, once she got going, she made 4 scarecrows. She could have made more, I think, if she had time. But they just loved it and carried on doing it.
And there's so many to see here. We're standing by Cloud 9. The top 3 are these. Number 3 is the hole-in-one, the golf one. Number 2, there's Goldilocks and the 3 Bears, just in a beautiful setting through a gateway. And then painting by numbers is the number 1, according to my judging this morning. I had no idea who did them. Who actually made that one?
Well, it was me. Yay! I've never won one in my life, and I made several heads and I shared them with other people in the village. But I'm so proud of that one. I loved painting by numbers as a child.
I think exactly. It's very much about the whole family, isn't it? And actually that children can go along and try and work out what they are as well.
Yeah, they loved the trail. I had so many entries this year that I split the quiz into adults and children. But I can tell when I mark them every night, that sometimes, children do the adults and adults do the children's quiz, and it's all a bit of fun. They get a prize at the end.
If you fancy coming along, it's £5 park your car or $2.50 on foot. It's the Elfington Scarecrow Festival Sunday and Bank Holiday Monday. And Vanessa Kimberley and Anita Hassel, thanks for joining us on
Thank you very
Rutland
much.
Radio.
Thank you, Rob, for joining us.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio podcast.
Well, first of all, how on earth do you reckon all the students that you're teaching tonight are actually going to sleep after this?
Well, hopefully well, I haven't done my job very well.
But I mean, the buzz here is just electric.
That's the thing, it's a bit like when we do shows and stuff, people ask us that question, I bet you're tired, but actually, if you come in and you enjoyed yourself and you've had a good time, actually, I want these kids to be buzzing for days and weeks to come, and hopefully it can give them some fresh inspiration to come and attack their classes,
So what about the whole Britain's Got Talent thing? When you won as diversity, this was something that never been seen before. It's never been seen since.
Yeah, it's true. It was quite a rarity, and I think that we continue to improve and continue to do what we do in exactly the same way, but just try to make it better and better and better. And I suppose that's why, best part of 10 years on, we're still here, we're still touring the country, and we're just very grateful.
And you're still selling out arenas.
Yeah, we just finished our Genesis Arena tour, which is our 7th tour now, sold out. So over the moon.
So what sort of stuff are you doing with them here? I mean, there's beginners and there's more advanced.
Exactly. So beginners are more advanced, and I think that for the beginners especially, it's just about having fun, starting to kind of get used to the concept of music and dancing in a group, and just learning some moves that they might have never done before in their standard classes. And with the older ones, I think it's more about pushing them to do something maybe a bit more difficult than they've done before, and they're actually going to learn something directly from one of our shows, so we'll see how they get on.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
Yes, Evergreen is really growing now, and we've got some fantastic events coming up which I'd really like to mention this morning. We've got a little afternoon tea on the 4th of May at our new home down Barnock Road, which is Ship House, and that's literally just coming along and having a chat about volunteering, cup of tea, piece of cake, and then we've also got a fantastic event on the 18th of May. Now, this is particularly important. It's called The Next Step. It's at the Theatre Lounge in Stamford. Louise is going to be doing a talk called The Raw Truth. And then we've got Neil Doherty coming, who's Chief Operating Officer from North West Anglia National NHS Foundation Trust. He's going to be talking about fulfilling the needs. And then Louise is also going to be talking about our new services. And there will be a question and answer session as well.
So, new services, what sort of things are you now looking to provide?
We have what we call Wellbeing Wardens, and they will be calling in to make sure that our members have had their medication or give them their medication. They might give them a little meal, and when needed, so if they arrive and one of our members needs some personal care, we are now able to do that. We also do something called pop-ins as well, and that might be simply one of our home support workers has literally played 2 hours of Scrabble with one of our members the other day. But do you know what? That is so important, and eventually we will be moving into personal care full time.
Now, you do rely on volunteers, but the whole thing is run by paid staff as well, because you need that kind of foundation, and that's what you're looking to recruit as well as part of this.
Yeah, we are now looking to recruit paid staff and also volunteers. We're always looking to recruit for volunteers. The paid staff would obviously be the home support workers and the Wellbeing Wardens, and then the volunteers, we've got some lovely volunteer roles. One of them is our hand and nail pamper team. This has been going for quite a while now. And we go into care homes and now offer this privately as well. And actually, one of the ladies who does these treats came into the office yesterday and she said, something, I was doing somebody's nails the other day and she very quietly said to me, I knew something lovely was going to happen today. It's such a nice feeling that we're able to deliver that, and that's free of charge, and it's all run by volunteers. Whenever we get an elderly or vulnerable member on board, it's very much about looking at the full package. So, whether they need home support, a wellbeing warden, whether they could really benefit from a befriender, whether they might like to have their nails done or they need some advocacy.
Rutland Radio.
Been talking about sporting events, and the biggest one this weekend by miles has to be the Rat Race Dirty Weekend at Burley House. I have someone sitting opposite me this morning who's going to be doing the Rat Race twice, George Peach from North Lufferham. Thanks for joining us here on Rutland Radio. You did the Rat Race once last year. How was that?
Yeah, I did it once last year with a friend. It was a nice sunny day out. Went round in about 8.5 hours between the two of us. Got through all the obstacles and walked the majority of it. And this year, in June last year, I thought it'd be a good idea to sign up again, and thought I'd click the button to do it twice.
So that's what's happening tomorrow morning at 8?
Yeah, now it's no longer last June, it's now tomorrow.
How are you feeling?
Apprehensive. It's a long old way to get through 40 miles, but just keep going and not think about that final distance.
Now, you and your wife Julie are doing a series of different events, half marathons, right the way through the year to raise money for Rutland, aren't you?
We are, yes. Yeah, it all started off with me doing the suffering at Rockingham Castle back in March. 3 weeks ago we did the Brighton Marathon, and we've got a number of others between now and end of September, really.
Is this an unusual year for you then, would you say? It's not the sort of things you normally do?
It all sort of started last year. I did a couple of obstacle races and half marathons last year. Before that, I ran to the car if it was raining.
Yeah.
So it's certainly upping the ante, really.
And you've got a Just Giving page between you and your wife as well for Rutland.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's justgiving.com/George and Julie Peach, where, as you say, we're raising money for Rutland. And
do you know of many people who are doing the rat race twice?
I know some friends who are doing it once. I don't know anyone personally who's signed up to do the foolish distance yet.
But there are quite a few setting off at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, so they can get round in time, and you're one of them.
Yeah. I think there's just over 100 doing it this year.
Fabulous. Well, have a wonderful time, and for Rutland, what a great cause it is for our county. And George Peach from North Luffenham, thanks for joining us on Rutland Radio today.
Thank you very much.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
English Martyrs' Day is our feast day, so it's where we celebrate our name, because our name is the Martyrs, English Martyrs. And we've had a very special mass this morning, and then we set the children a challenge of a bake-off where they had to design and make a cake, thinking about what makes our school special.
Rutland Radio.
So you were both like the new Mary Berry and Paul Hollywood of English Martyrs School then?
Absolutely. It's been very, very difficult to judge. Basically because there's so many variations of cakes, and a lot of the children had themes like a sense of community, friends, but also the love of the school as one big family, and I thought that was very nice. And the religious theme was there, definitely present as well.
Yes, it all came across in their cakes beautifully, because it is a wonderful school.
And why did you choose the winners?
Oh, it was very, very hard, but they all came together, the cakes all came together, so the logo, the family aspect, the religion, they all had bits of that in it. I think that's why we chose them, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think also the cake, which was made by the children themselves, you could see, and I think the one with the Smarties as the family, as the friends, and the stars, you have to reach for the stars, gingerbread men for friends. And the first prize we chose because it had the earth, all the friends around, and love, hope and joy at the top, and it was just brilliantly done.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, both of you. That is perfect, both of you. Thank you very much for that.
Rutland Radio.
First off, before we talk about your EP, let's talk about Annie. It's only a few weeks away, and you're one of the two Annies that's going to be on stage at Stamford Corn Exchange. What an amazing part.
I know, it's going to be super exciting. I can't wait for it.
How's it been, actually, rehearsing all that and obviously making this EP at the same time?
Actually, it's been easier than I thought, really. I thought it was going to be quite hard when I auditioned, but it's actually quite good and fun.
Now, tell us about the EP. You're doing it for the War Child charity. It's been on sale for just a few weeks now.
Yeah, you can buy it on Facebook if you go onto Facebook at Chloe Lorentzen, LORENTZEN, and you can also buy it on Just Giving.
So tell us about War Child and what it does.
Every single penny from the CD is going to War Child UK, which help kids who have lost their families or have bombs dropped on their houses, help them get new homes in different countries, because kids don't start wars, so they don't really need to be put through that kind of thing.
Tell us about your EP. You've got some Adele on there, and you've got your own music on there as well.
My first song is When We Were Young, with my band that basically lives down the street. They're all kids. And Hiding My Heart by Brandi Carlile, and Tragedy by also Brandi Carlile, with a cello. My own song, Circus Clown, When We Were Young by piano, and then Tragedy again with the guitar version.
Now,
and everything was made by kids.
Yeah, you put this band together, didn't you? Literally over a few weeks. People you knew of, and you put it all together on one Sunday afternoon at a Peterborough recording studio.
Yeah, basically. We did it live, so we did it all together at the same time.
So proper kind of band recording. That must have been quite amazing. Was that new for you as well?
Yeah, first time been to a recording studio, really.
How old are you again?
Just turned 12.
And you live in Stamford. How long have you been over here?
3 years.
So the accent, people are going to ask, aren't they? Where's your accent from?
I was born in Texas, but I moved to Oregon.
So tell us about the EP. You know, there's been loads of people getting a copy of it, haven't they? And the War Child charity is going to actually get all the proceeds.
So far, we've raised almost £5,000 for
Seriously?
War Child UK. Yeah.
Nearly £5,000
Yeah.
from your CD.
Yes.
That's incredible.
And there's a bronze, silver, and a gold edition.
Now, Brandi Carlile, you mentioned. Now, people over here might not be familiar with her work. Over in America, she's a massive star. Who would you compare her to over here, do you think?
Well, I'd probably compare it to Kirsty McCall.
So, someone with a kind of folk roots who kind of likes to just do lots of different things.
Yeah.
Tell us about Circus Clown, then, the song that we're going to hear.
So it was when I was 9 years old when I wrote it, and it was about the first boy who broke up with me. And I came home crying one day because I was really upset about everything that happened at school.
So you're writing relationship songs at your age?
Yeah, broken heart songs.
Wow, that's amazing. Where do you see things going from here? What would be your ultimate ambition?
I would probably be like Brandi Carlile, singing on stage and doing really good things for charities like War Child.
Fab. So if people would like to get the CD, they go onto your Facebook page. That's the easiest way.
Yeah, probably.
Chloe Lorenson, thank you very much for joining us on Rutland Radio. It's been a real pleasure to have you in today.
Thank you.
Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website, rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to rutlandradio.co.uk. This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week.
My name is Samuel Burton and my sport is basketball.
And tell us about the Special Olympics. This will be the first time you've gone, I guess, will it?
Yeah, the Special Olympics where we all play this certain sport that we like, and this is my first time where I'm going to be playing basketball in Sheffield to represent East Midlands.
And obviously, like all people in sport, in competition, you need funding to help that, and the school's getting behind you today.
Yes, a non-uniform day, so hopefully we can raise enough money so we can go.
What does it mean to you to actually have the backing of the school here?
It feels really supportive, and I really appreciate that the school is actually looking at what I'm accomplishing, and they are really looking into what they can do for us.
So how long have you been playing basketball?
About a year now.
And actually being part of an event like this, I mean, it must be amazing just to think that you're going to be there representing the region.
Yeah, it feels amazing because I never thought I'd get this far, because when I started basketball I just did it as a regular thing to do, really, another thing to do, but now I've gone this far, it's become a part of me, really.
My name's Abigail Gray and I do basketball.
Going to the Special Olympics, as I was saying to Sam, you know, it needs funding. It was partly down to you that the school got behind you.
Yeah, it was. I had to do a presentation in front of the student council to see if we could get the non-uniform day, and I felt really proud that we got it.
Tell us about the experience of actually going to Sheffield to be part of this.
It feels amazing but nervous at the same time because I am representing East Midlands. It's nervous but I'm excited to go.
Do you train here at the college as well?
Yeah, I train in the sports centre on a Wednesday.
When is the Special Olympics taking place?
It's going to be in August.
How long have you been playing?
I've been playing for about 1 or 2 years.
What has it given you that maybe you didn't have before?
More confidence, definitely. Being picked in to go to the Special Olympics has definitely given me more confidence.
Do you know how many are actually coming from Rutland that are going to the Special Olympics?
7 of us are going.
Isn't that a great contribution for a tiny little county like us?
Yeah, it is.
Rutland Radio.
James Freeborough, Transport Manager, Voluntary Action Rutland.
Now, the community car scheme has been a massive part of VAR for many years now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still so well used, but it's a bit chicken and egg, isn't it, really?
It is, really. With the limited amount of drive that we've got, the demand is high. We can only accommodate, obviously, with the facilities we've got. Although we keep trying to push the volunteers to come in and be volunteer drivers, it's word of mouth by a lot of things, you know, so we try to accommodate who we can when we can. Some people are disappointed, but we do try our best, and my office team that take the bookings, they don't like saying no. They always want to try their best, and on occasions I do apologise that we can't cover everybody.
So is it people using their own car as well as your specialist vehicles here?
Right, the scheme itself is split down into two areas. The social car scheme, which is where the volunteers will use their own car, and we also have the community vehicles, which is the two wheelchair accessible minibuses and what we affectionately call the VAR car, which is a wheelchair adaptable car. And we have separate drivers for both of those. The social car scheme, all those volunteers are reimbursed for all the mileage they do at the end of each month, whereas the community vehicles, those drivers don't get any reimbursement at all because they're using our vehicles.
What else do people need to know if they want to become a part of this? I guess, you could do any time you can fit in, really.
Yeah, as much or as little as any individual wants to give. Some drivers maybe only do one drive a week. Some do 5 or 6 a day, local areas they can. So it's totally up to them, We don't push people to do it. We ask them, are you available to do a drive on such and such a day? If they say no, not a problem, we'll move on to the next one. So it's give as much as they want to. And if they're interested in doing that, obviously they just contact the transport office and then we'll get in touch with them if they want to sign up.
And whereabouts do these visits, these journeys typically go to and from?
From the home address to virtually any hospital within the country. Obviously, if his driver is willing to go all the way down to Addenbrooke's, so it's whether they want to do it or not. And then within the local area, social trips, shopping, hospital, medical, anything like that.
And it's 01572 724 705 if people can help.
That's the main transport office number. Open Monday to Friday, apart from bank holidays, from 9 till 12. Give us a call and we'll see what we can do.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio Podcast.
Lindsay Henshaw-Dan, Chief Exec of VAR.
So why the change of name here at the Rutland Volunteer Centre?
I think all communities and their needs are changing over time. We have lost our funding, which means we can't offer volunteer brokerage that we've done for 20 odd years. And actually, as the community around the centre has grown, they too were saying they didn't understand what volunteer centre meant, and maybe it wasn't for them. I think there's nearly 4,000 new houses and people here. So for us to be able to keep up with the time, we felt this was very much the time to rebrand the site, not the charity, and try and do what it says on the tin. And it isn't only for VAR and the services we provide, but it's the 10 organisations that provide community services.
I suppose really, as you say, because there's so many organisations that use it, the various rooms here, they'll be here for like 2 hours a week, say, some of them.
Absolutely. I mean, we have more than 25,000 people through the door. A lot of them can ask questions about what services are in Rutland, what groups can they join. We still get people asking for volunteering, and those that actually access the service. So we're a little bit more discreet because we're not on the high street. If you come to the Rutland Community Hub, you would not be able to tell who is a worker, who is somebody accessing services, somebody accessing volunteers. And I think in a very small county, that's really important, that we can go about our business quietly.
So with your funding cut to zero, how on earth do you make it pay? How do you actually pay the bills?
Okay. You might ask me that in about 12 months. But as a charity, we've been, I think, very lucky having these resources here. So we have permanent tenants who offer their services, and then we make some of our money then from hiring out the rooms. We have a dual pricing system so that businesses and stat bodies pay a higher rate, so we can apply a discount then for the smaller groups and their activities. So we do need people to use these resources. I'm aware, Rob, you will know what it was like while we were trying to raise money for the Gover Centre. How many cakes did we bake for this building that cost nearly £1 million? The people who lived here bought bricks to help us raise the money. These resources are owned by the people who live here, and we just want to support them accessing that and don't want to keep it static. We have to change according to the needs of the people who live here.
So 36 years on since it all started. I know you came in actually when the original team left, more or less.
11 years now.
Yeah. How does the future feel to you?
I'm sorry, I don't think it's just in Rutland. I think it's throughout the country. I think your attitude to some of the challenges and the fiscal constraints that face us all are out there. But I and my very, very small team now are very passionate about what we do. And it isn't just working Monday to Friday, 9 till 5, the groups that are here trying to raise the profile of their services. That's still in our hearts, even though we're not funded to do it. I think our motivation, the motivation of the staff, is tremendous. I don't know where the future's going to go. We've got a lot of knowledge here, as you say, accumulated over the years. We've got these wonderful resources, and we will consider working with anybody at all to make the most of what we have here. How long that will be, Rob, I don't know. I don't think anybody does.
And looking at the organisations here today, I mean, you've got everyone from Parkinson's to Health Watch Rutland, who have their meetings here, to Red Cross as well, who actually have relocated their shop here effectively.
Well, they did, but they've also, they lost their funding. The healthcare support shop that's here, that used to be in Northgate years ago, their funding went awry. So we helped and support the volunteers have an office here. They've got a good plan. The local trust helped fund them to set up, and they're doing really, really well. All run by volunteers. And, you know, Richard, the centre manager, he will do anything he can to help them. They have massive deliveries, and they need strapping fellas, don't they, to take things around, but also to help them with funding or volunteers, whatever it is they need.
Rutland Radio.
So I'm Claire Cunningham. I'm a Great Britain para triathlete, and I'm here on behalf of Arctic One.
Well, tell us about Rio to start with. I mean, you know, it seems like the Olympics are getting bigger and bigger, as are the Paralympics, actually, in terms of their support across the country.
Yeah, Rio was a fantastic experience. I was actually a Paralympic swimmer in the 90s, and I think Paralympic sport in the 90s was just a million miles away from where it is now in terms of people actually knowing what it was and the support it received and media coverage. So to actually experience, if you like, a contemporary modern-day Paralympic Games post-London as well was an incredible experience. Just knowing that people back home knew what was going on. There was Channel 4 coverage, which was great. And actually the locals came out and supported the Paralympics really well because, you know, ticket prices were cheaper, locals could afford them, and I think some of the biggest spectator days were actually across the Paralympics and Olympics are actually at the Paralympics. So it was a fantastic experience.
Could you tell us about your disability and the challenges it actually means for you? Does it basically mean that the rest of your body has to work harder?
I was basically born without my left forearm, so sort of having an impairment from birth I think is very different from acquiring one. It means that I just learned differently and I adapted from a very, very young age. I mean, I grew up not to see myself as having a disability, and that's really sort of the attitude I've carried throughout my life, school and work and everything. If anything, it wasn't until I started doing sport that I became more aware of the disadvantage I was at, and obviously sort of being able to represent my country in disability sport is a fantastic thing to be able to do. So it doesn't limit me in any way. Obviously I can't swim as fast because I've only got one arm, but it's just something that I've lived with and don't really see as any kind of disadvantage at all.
What about today? I mean, you're here at Inspire to Try. You really are here to inspire the next generation.
Yeah, so today's a training day for athletes who either want to improve or have a go at para-triathlon. So Mary's given use of facility today at Inspire to Try. We've got a fantastic indoor pool with flumes and a treadmill, lots of space so guys can practice transitions, they can have a go on the bike and running. But the actual charity that's running today is Arctic One, and they raise funds and offer opportunities for people with disabilities and impairments to basically get involved in sport. And they've been supporting for the last 4 years athletes right from grassroots, just wanting to get out and run and get a prosthetic so they can do that, right up to, well, current Paralympic champion in triathlon. So they really are very, very supportive for the whole spectrum of sports and just getting people out there and active.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
Yeah, Andy Lewis, part of the Great Britain para triathlon team.
Well, first of all, congratulations on your gold. I mean, what a moment, what a defining moment for you.
Yeah, I've only been doing triathlon just short of 3 years, so for me to walk away with a gold medal, it was absolutely fantastic. And to go into the Paralympics as well with the pressure I had on my shoulders because I was already European and world champion, yeah, I've never felt pressure like it.
And what about in terms of the distances and stuff? I mean, we're quite familiar with triathlons around here being right near Rutland Water. What exactly are the distances you have to compete in?
So for Paralympic triathlon, it was the first time it was in the Paralympics. So for Paralympic, it is 750 swim, which for those people out there swimming an average pool, that's 30 lengths in the pool, 20 kilometres on the bike, so 12 point something miles, and then 5 kilometre run, which is 3.2 miles. So it's a shorter distance than the Olympic distance, but because we have a lot of guys, race chairs, wheelchairs and things like that, it is a distance that is obtainable by everyone really that gets involved.
Tell us about your injury.
I got run over by a lorry back in 1999. I was just about to join the parachute regiment, and a 38-ton lorry ran me over. So that sort of wiped my career of being in the parachute regiment. And then after that, I took about 2 years really to be able to get to walk again on a prosthetic leg. And then after that, I wanted to learn to get fit again. But it's been a long old process, and there's been plenty of ups and downs, that's for sure.
I saw some video actually that someone shared who was here earlier, actually, in the meet and greet earlier, and you were moving your leg around as nimbly as, more nimbly than people would imagine.
I use a running blade for the run, and then I just have a bog standard NHS walking leg that I use for my cycling. I'm quite a firm believer in, yes, there's great technology out there, but you don't need the best technology in the world. We've got guys here today and girls that have come along, and they've got the very basic NHS leg that they're still out there riding their bike. They're getting in the pool and they're swimming. Okay, they don't have the £10,000-15,000 running blade, but if they aspire to at least get fit and get active, then I'm sure no matter what leg they have on, it's just going to help them no end.
Finally, just your impressions of being part of Rio. I was saying to Claire earlier that the Olympics and the Paralympics just seem to have grown and grown in terms of support and popularity.
For me, it was the first one I've been to. I know Claire's been to a few now, but for me it was just fantastic to be there. The venue, the team GB as a whole, and the amount of support and everything that goes into it, thanks to UK Sport and the National Lottery. A lot of other nations don't have that. And personally, I think that's why Great Britain is so good at what we do, because we have the backing of the National Lottery and UK Sport, and we have some great practitioners and coaches and people out there that can put us into the right place, ready to win medals.
Rutland Radio.
So as we've been mentioning, there is an organised dog walk, although it's fairly informally organised this Sunday at Rutland Water. To tell us more from the Stamford-based charity Mutts Nuts, Terry Cook. Thanks for joining us. So, as I say, informally organised, isn't it? It's not as if, dogs go off in waves at particular times.
No, it's all very casual. It's called a mutt and a mission, and our objective really is to get people out walking their dogs, thinking about the health benefits, and also thinking about the elderly, because the Mutts Nuts are there to help the elderly with their pets when they can no longer manage alone. So we're hoping to meet a lot of supporters, people who don't know us. We are looking for volunteers. We've got a pop-up agility going on. The Stamford vets will be there to talk to people about the health and well-being of their animals. We also have a scavenger hunt for children. And, of course, the walk itself, which is a very casual stroll across the dam, setting off as and when people arrive. There'll be a refreshment tent. Oh, gosh, there's loads of things, isn't there?
So there's no need to pre-register for this at all?
No, not at all. Just turn up any time from 10:30 to 2:30. If you can check in at our welcome desk, we can give you some information, and then you can either walk with others or you can walk alone. If you've got a dog that has any issues, perhaps frightened of other dogs, anything like that, we've got the yellow ribbon scheme, so we can kit you out with a ribbon and some indication of your dog's issues, so that people take care whilst they're around your dog with their dogs.
So tell us about Mutts Nuts, the charity. We've seen you at Stamford Pet Show many times over the years. You were at the Stamford Santa Fun Run as well, last December, actually being the big charity that people were raising money for.
We have been in existence for 5 years, but this last Christmas we set up this new service called Home to help the elderly with their pets when they can no longer manage alone. And behind that are a range of services. We can hold somebody's hand, metaphorically speaking, by looking after their pet with them so that they can keep their animal at home. Or we can take that pet in for some respite care, perhaps whilst that person has an operation in hospital or recovers from something. Or we can, in the longer term, rehome pets that people feel they can no longer look after at home. We're there on Sunday really to promote that and to encourage people to get to know what we do. so that should they or their family ever need the service, they know who to call.
And how do they get in touch with Mutt's Nuts? Anyone who can't come along this Sunday? I mean, hopefully they can, but if they can't...
Sure. We're on the web. We have a website, which is themuttsnuts.com, and that's 2 T's in mutts and nuts. One thing I guess everybody should know, we do take our work very seriously, but we're really quite playful about how we do it. So we like to do things like the Santa Fun Run and the Conquer Championships and the World Marmalade Competition and things like that, things that are a bit playful, really. Sometimes the work can be quite harrowing, so it's good for everybody to find ways to enjoy things and to find the joy in the service and the activities.
Terry Cook from Mutt's Nuts, the Stamford-based dog charity. Thank you very much for joining us on Rutland Radio this morning, and I hope you have a good event on Sunday.
It's a pleasure, Rob. Thanks so much for letting us do this piece.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
My name's Paul McChrystal. I'm the driver of Loros Local.
Now, we're aware that Loros have services in Uppingham now at the surgery there, which have been launched over the last few months. Loros Local's only been going a few weeks, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's absolutely right, Rob. We've got various clinical services being delivered at the Uppingham surgery, but we're hoping now to get round and about all the towns, villages in Rutland and in Leicestershire to raise the profile of the hospice. We have lots of people who are supporters, but lots of people still, don't have that much contact with the Leicester Hospice itself. So it's really important that we get out and about and talk to people about what we do, talk to people about death and dying and what they can do. I mean, today we're out here at Gates's Garden Centre promoting Dying Matters Week, which is just about encouraging people to talk about their wishes with their relatives and loved ones. So that's our theme today, and over the course of the next few months we're going to be going out and promoting different aspects of the service. So we might be going out and promoting volunteering. People want to give in different ways, and the volunteering is a really important part of what Loros is about. We have something like 1,200 volunteers doing all sorts of different things. You'll see from when you look at Loros Local, it's very eye-catching, very colourful. Inside we've got an extending pod that has lots of information about the services that Loros has, so people can come on, they can browse, they can talk to a range of people. We're going to have expert clinicians on board, we're going to have people like bereavement, volunteers, counsellors who can talk to people. So we've got that room at the front. At the back we've got a sort of more confidential area where we can sit down with people and we can talk to them, possibly about how they've been feeling, how they've been getting on, and we'll be advertising different sorts of services. We want to sort of promote some of the complementary therapies, because Loros is very much about caring for the whole person. And there's more of an affirmation about living and what we can do to help people, and their families, rather than the more negative aspects.
So I guess it's about making the journey, whatever I guess when people come to you, they know that that there's a certain road that they're going down, but you want it to have, in the way that we're surrounded by plants here, a really leafy, comfortable, optimistic, journey as possible.
That's absolutely right, and I think it's really important that people associate very positive things. We have so many brilliant staff who are doing complementary therapies, massage, head massages. We have our day clinic that's doing all sorts of things to support people, make their lives a lot more enjoyable. And this is about carrying that message out to say, actually, there's a lot of positives about the work that the hospice does. And let's be fair, Loros is only supported by the people in Leicestershire, Leicester and Rutland, and it's really important that they feel part of it and can see Loros Local coming out into their towns, into their communities, that they can come on board and and talk with us and talk to staff on there.
Rutland Radio.
Rachel Hill, Relationship Development Lead at Loros.
Now, we've been hearing from Paul there's a wide range of services Loros actually support, but tell us about Will Writing Week.
So every May we hold our Will Writing Month campaign, where we get solicitors backing us from the Leicestershire and Rutland region. They offer their advice and services free of charge for a suggested donation to Loros. This is for a simple single or joint will. Obviously anything more complicated will incur costs, but it's something that they do, to support Loros. And it's proving very popular as it has for the last, this is our 5th year doing it.
And is it open to everyone to actually take advantage of this?
Yes, open to absolutely everyone, whatever age, whether you're, even if you lived outside of the area, it really doesn't matter, it's open to everyone.
And it sounds obvious, but tell us why actually making a will is crucial really to that stage of settling your affairs.
I think whatever stage of life you're at, whether it's you've just bought a house, you've perhaps just started a family, or you're looking at retirement, it's important to just plan ahead, look ahead, which is why it works so well with Dying Matters Week as well. It's all about talking about it, getting things in the open, planning, thinking ahead. So it's just to make sure that everything you want goes to the right place when the time comes.
And it also means, I know, that actually if there is a will involved, the whole process can actually be speeded up as well, or it could take years otherwise.
Yeah, there are so many, you hear so many things about contested wills, and I think as long as you've got all your business in place and what you want to go where, then it does make things a lot quicker and speedier. Yeah, and also stops any problems within families and that kind of thing.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio Podcast.
Well, I'm Jenny Harris. I'm actually the parish administrator for Uppingham Parish Church.
So it's a big festival which launches very soon, Friday through to the following Sunday. Tell us about the Alive festival.
Right. Well, it starts off tomorrow with a pantomime. Yes, actually in May. Oh, yes, it is. Mm-hmm. And I'm directing that, so I have actually had a lot of involvement in that. It's going to be fun for all the family and under an hour long, so not too late for children, with cakes and tea and coffee and squash afterwards. And then on the Saturday, there's going to be a film for children. Sunday, there's services and songs of praise at 4 o'clock. Sunday night, there's going to be a super magician that's going to be fun for absolutely everyone. That's going to take place in the town hall. At each of the events, whatever they happen to be, whether they're sort of completely fun events or more serious, there will be a very short talk by the Through Faith mission team. Just, a sort of chat about their Christian faith. Not very long. There's events at the Falcon Hotel on Monday and Thursday. Very interesting talks. Where is God in illness, wars, disasters? And then next Sunday at 11 o'clock at Todd's Peace, there's a big outdoor service. There will be a marquee if it rains, so it still will be on. And everyone's welcome to everything. They just need to look out for the dates, times, and just come along.
And this is Uppingham and Belton together.
Yes.
And is this the first time, actually, that there's been this big festival?
Well, it's the first time churches together involved in a mission week and also involved the Through Mission team. Uppingham Parish and Belton have had missions before, and we've had lots of fun events and we've invited people in. But this is the first time that all the churches, the Congregational, the Methodist, Uppingham and Belton have all got together to involve a team from the Through Mission.
And tell us about the mission. Are you raising funds for a particular cause?
Well, the mission, it's not really a fundraiser at all. It's actually, hopefully, to let people know, about God. Hopefully, some people might decide to come and try a service at one of the churches. It's certainly not to raise funds. Any events that are actually charged. It's just to cover costs.
Now, have you got a programme available? Is there somewhere that people can go to find out central place for information?
Yeah, well, there's programmes in the back of all the churches. Certainly in our church in Uppingham, the parish church, we have a table and there's lots of takeaway flyers, programmes, and also on the website.
Excellent. Well, it all sounds great fun, as well as obviously, a serious message to it. And I suppose that's the point, really, isn't it?
It is. Christians do have fun, and it's fun with a message.
Jenny Harris, thank you very much for joining us on Rutland Radio today. So there are tickets still available for
all
events?
There are, yes, tickets still available for all the events. And certainly tomorrow, just turn up on the door. We'd love to see everybody. But there's tickets available for everything all week.
Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website, rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to rutlandradio.co.uk. This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week. Well, the active Rutland Walking and Cycling Festival, of course, kicks off today, but it's the final day of the Nordic Walking Challenge locally. Joe Douglas tells us more. Joe, whereabouts are you walking to and from then?
Well, today we're starting from Tixope, walking all the way to Stretton. We've got a 21-mile stretch ahead of us today. We've done, the other 44 miles over the previous 2 days. There's a group of around about 30 of us doing it. Some of us are doing 3 days, some doing 1 day. We're raising money for air ambulance, the local air ambulance, and we're really proud to say we've managed to raise £1,700 so far.
How fantastic. Well done, everyone involved in that. So, Nordic Walking, you meet every week at various different places, don't you? You run courses on Nordic Walking, which is the stuff with the poles, isn't it?
It is, yes, and it's a really brilliant way to meet your fitness goals. It's great for improving your posture, improving your stamina, but it's low impact, so anybody carrying an injury or anybody just wants to get fit, because it is a real challenging sport. You can put into it as much as you want, and it's just really great fun. We go to a different place every week, so we really know Rutland really quite well now. We visit every public footpath that we can and have a walk and a cup of tea after, I guess.
So ticks over and then up towards, you say, Clipsham, Stretton area?
Yes, it is, and we'll be going through Elfington and Normanton, Empingham, through Great Casterton, and then on the way round to Clipsham and to Stretton at the end, where we're going to have an end of walk party.
I don't blame you. I think you should. And can people actually donate if they see you today?
Yeah, if they see me, they can do it anyway. And on my website, I have just giving page. It would be fantastic, because it's £1,700 just every mission they do. So the more we raise, the more people it can help. So that would be brilliant. It's www.nordicwalkit.co.uk. And also, if anybody wants to have a go, we do run tasters. I've got one on Saturday the 27th of May at Exton, 11:30. Please, again, look on the website. And I'm also doing one on a Tuesday evening for anybody that works in Uppingham as part of the Rutland Walking and Cycling Week. So please come along, have a go, and see what it's all about. Come and have some fun.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio podcast.
Okay, so how's the Chelsea Flower Show prep been going?
Prep for Chelsea's been great, actually. Some things actually have come on a little bit too fast. So we don't have big fridges like a lot of these larger nurseries do. So been trying to tuck things in front of north-facing fences and sheds and whatever. But things are looking great. Really pleased with how it's going. Just about to load the van and tootle down there. So that's quite nice. I'm celebrating the 50th anniversary of Gardeners World. Obviously, we were a big part of that. So I'm hoping to get reasonable bit of TV coverage, which would be great for Rutland. It's nice to get Rutland on the telly. And see how that goes. I've got one or two little quirky bits in there. So if it does appear, it'll be quite interesting to see.
So what do you have to actually prep? Obviously your plants, but is there specific specific plants for specific categories? Or?
Well, because I'm celebrating the 50th anniversary of Garden as well, what I've done is I've located and grown plants that are associated with certain presenters, ex-presenters, as well as the odd current presenter of Gardeners World. I've also got little props in there, so I've had my mum actually scouring the charity shops. She's in her 80s, so she likes scouring the charity shops, and looking for a jacket that was similar to one that Percy Thrower had, so I can hang that up somewhere. And I've got I had to donate a couple of pairs of my jeans, which I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do with those, but it'll be interesting just to see with that. But other things, that we're looking at, the display is also going to highlight. It's titled A Gardener's World, so I wanted to highlight plants that also come from around the world that gardeners use. So I've been making sure that I get all that information right and everything, so lots of research and things. So it's not just a case of quickly nipping around the nursery a couple of days before and then just loading your van and tootling down. There's quite a lot that goes into it beforehand.
Perfect, thank you very much.
Rutland Radio.
Yeah, Richard Drinkwater, and I'm director in the company.
So where did the inspiration come for the aqua park?
Well, back in 2015, and we managed to realise it in 2016 after negotiations with Anglian Water, who thankfully led us on to Rutland Water.
And what's different about it this year?
Well, last year we had 16 obstacles, or 17 obstacles. We had about 4,000 square metres of park. This year, 40 obstacles and 8,000 square metres of park, so significantly larger.
And what do you think the park brings to Rutland?
Well, tourism for a start. It's a huge boost to the local economy because you've got people coming down. They don't just come down for the day and spend their money here, not just in the park, but on the cycling in the Rutland Water Sports Centre, but in the cafes and pubs, and indeed in the local towns in and around Rutland. But you've also got people travelling from, last year we had people up from Cornwall and we had people down from Aberdeen who were staying over the weekend, so staying in local hotels for a couple of days out, 2 sessions out on the park over the weekend.
Does it go anywhere else, or is this just for Rutland?
At the moment it's just for Rutland, but next year we've got 2 more parks opening, so this is just a start. One of the parks hopefully will be with Anglian Water elsewhere in their estate, and there will be another park in the UK that we'll be setting up next year.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
My name's Holly Hucknall. I'm Information Officer at the Rutland Water Osprey Project.
Okay, so you haven't had the best news over the weekend?
No, it's been a really rollercoaster weekend actually. It was lovely news on Friday and Saturday. We had an egg hatch both of those mornings, which was great, and then got in on Monday and one of the chicks just wasn't moving, which was really sad. And we looked back over recordings. We've got 24-hour recording system in place, which is really nice, but looked back over and it just hadn't moved since Saturday night. About 8:30 was the last time we saw it move. So really upsetting, obviously. We've not actually ever lost a chick on this nest before, so this pair are really experienced and really good. So yeah, it's just a shame. These things happen in nature though.
How many chicks have you got at the moment then?
So at the moment we have got 2 chicks again. So another chick hatched this morning, which was really lovely after yesterday. Nice that the nest has got 2 chicks in again, and we've still got 1 egg to hatch. So hopefully over the next 2 or 3 days that should hatch, and then we'll have a full brood of 3 again, which is what ospreys usually raise. We were really lucky to have 4 eggs in the first place, so hopefully if we have 3 chicks, that's great. That's another great year for our birds.
And are you aiming for anything next year?
Next year, well, just really to have more birds return to the area. Every year it's interesting to see how many birds return from their migration to West Africa, and this year we've got a record number of 23 ospreys in the area, so every year we just hope for more and more to come back. Yes.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
I'm at the Lodge Trust at Market Overton. I've got a fun day going on, so who have I got here with me? I've got
Becky Conboy,
Carolyn Shaw,
Richard Wilson.
And what are you guys doing here today?
We're trying to raise funds because Richard and Carolyn have been selected to represent the East Midlands as part of the Special Olympics for the horse riding. So we've got a stall here today just selling a variety of things that Richard and Carolyn and our other residents have made.
So are you excited to be part of the Special Olympics?
I am.
Are you looking more forward to the dressage?
The dressage.
Or the working trials?
Or the working trial. Both.
Oh, she likes both.
And do you love horses?
Yes.
What's your favourite horse?
Midland.
Mizzen's the horse she rides.
Yes.
And Richard?
Both. It's in Sheffield, my home area.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. You're looking forward to it?
Yes.
And what are you most looking forward to?
Going back home.
We're going
as
back
well.
home.
So, and also your mum and dad will be able to come and
Yeah.
watch him do the competing. You're also very good at the
Very
dressage
done.
because Richard also is off lead rope, so he's just doing a higher level than Carolyn. We also do baking in the cafe every week, trying to raise funds because we've got to raise £1,500.
Rutland Radio.
My name's Kevin Armstrong. I'm the Work and Education Manager at the Lodge Trust. We're a home for adults with learning disabilities, and welcome to our fun day.
So what's going on today?
We have got loads of different stalls, events, activities going on just to promote what we're doing, to raise a bit of funds, but to have a really good day as well, for people to come and celebrate what the Lodge Trust does.
What does the Lodge Trust do?
We are a Christian home that supports adults with learning disabilities. So we have 30 people that live here on site, plus we have another dozen or so come in on a daily basis, and we support them in every aspect of life. So we give them a home that they can live in, that they can call home, that's suitable for them, but we also have working experiences so folks can feel that they've got a job doing some meaningful work that's beneficial for them. So we do things like gardening, woodwork, enterprise projects, craft, catering. You know, we give it a go. Lots of training as well. So that's
And
good.
today's all about raising money for the trust.
Yeah, so today we are raising money for the work that we're doing. For our residents, they like to be able to see an end product for what they're doing. So by putting this on, they can actually see that the work they've been doing is actually going to be reaching the public, so it gets sold to them and people see what they're doing. So the plants, we've got loads of plants for sale. So they've raised all them, they've grown them, they've watered them, they've cared for them. And so we're funding for that. We're also raising funding for our Special Olympics guys. They're going to be going up to Sheffield for the Special Olympics in August. And we're also raising money for our new project that we're hoping to open in Milton Keynes.
Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website, rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to rutlandradio.co.uk. This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week.
Well, Joel, welcome back to Stamford to start with. I mean, you know, how amazing actually to have two sellouts in our town. We kind of feel like maybe Stamford is just a bit small for you these days. Do you know what I mean?
It was amazing, really. Someone told me that the first date sold out in 4 hours and the second date sold out in 5 hours, which is absolutely insane. And so I'm back here again. I feel like it's kind of an encore that nobody asked for.
It's like the Welland Valley tour, I was thinking.
Yeah.
Stamford, Corby and back again.
Stamford, Corby and back again. It's a really nice way of doing it, actually, because sometimes when you do a theatre 2 nights on a trot, you start to sort of get bored of the space a little bit. It becomes a bit more... it sort of becomes more of a script when you're in that same place. And it was really nice going away, doing a different space, and then coming back, and then you go like, oh, this one. Like it was so fun. It was so fun on, when was it, Wednesday? Really lovely gig, really nice bunch, and it's a really lovely town. I really like it.
Have you managed to see any of it while you've been here?
Well, yeah, we just went at a lovely little meal at a lovely Turkish restaurant in town. That was very good, and we had a good wander around. We got here about sort of 2:30 today. I try my best to get to venues as early as I can, just sort of talk about the town a little bit. It's amazing how much of a sense you can get from a town from just walking around for like an hour or something. And yeah, I love it. Absolutely wonderful little place. It's amazing how like you travel for 20 minutes. Corby is so different. I'm not going to be specific in those differences. But they're very different people, very different town. Both gigs were absolutely lovely, but in very different ways. You know, we're going from ones that like this in Stamford, which is beautiful old theatre. You're really sort of steeped in history and you can really feel like it's an old building. And then you go to Corby, which is completely different in the same way that the town is newer. I'm having so much fun on this tour, and hopefully that is reflected in the shows.
You've done so many different things, but I have to say 100-foot crane was the most impressive thing I've seen on TV.
Thank you.
In the last 12 months, definitely.
Oh, I mean,
my heart was in my mouth. I can't do heights like that.
I mean, imagine where my heart was. So scared about the show and what it was going to be like, and I didn't know what to expect and what the other people were going to be like, and you just meet these people who you're really scared of, and then you're like, oh, this is fine, and then you're immediately faced with your worst fear, which was heights. I mean, I was so proud of myself. It was so horrific, but it made everything else feel better. It was just like everything else from then on in, I was like, well, at least it's not that. I realised it's more of a trust thing because you know you're not going to die because you're attached by a cable. It's all about just going like trusting a strange Australian man who's wearing shorts and a sort of some.
Well, there's a few of those, aren't there?
There's loads of them. And so I realised that it's not actually a fear of heights I have a fear of trusting other people.
I'm a celebrity. There's so many things to it, isn't there? Not only, is it a window on you and you're very exposed, but, the challenges like the bugs and stuff falling from the ceiling and landing in your hair. And...
Yeah, I mean, the strange thing about it is that you really get used to the bugs. You get used to the smell of cockroaches. What you don't get used to, really, is the tiredness and the hunger. Just literally like going in the pan and grabbing one grain of rice. It's easier, actually, on the people who are sort of slightly less fit, because they've got more fat reserves to burn, and whereas I didn't really have much to burn in the first place. People like me and Wayne and Jordan and Adam, we were really like really hungry. Whereas people like Larry, he was literally happy as Larry. He's one of my favourite humans in the entire world. I learned so much from him. I like going over to his house for lunch and just hearing his tales and stuff. And he's doing a tour now. He's doing a tour and doing sort of a question and answer sort of situation and telling tales from his life, and it was something that we talked about in the jungle, and I'm really proud that he's going through with it because he's a really good guy.
So what's next for you? I mean, everything from panel games to acting to stand-up,
Yeah, there's lots on the cards, really. This tour goes to the end of the year, so and strangely there's loads of dates around here, so we really are. So we've got lots happening, and that's till December, and there's so that's the big chunk of our time. But I'm also doing various TV projects. I've got another couple of things coming up, which is really exciting, which I have to do lots of work for that. And writing some scripts and channels, which is really cool, and writing a book at the moment. So I've been asked to write a book by a publisher, and so that's really exciting. That's a really new discipline that I'm learning how to do, and it's really exciting. I'm ready to work really hard and make sure I sort of stay in this hopefully upper echelon of comedy, and I'm not gonna waste it, and just gonna try my best to make everyone proud who has supported me so far.
So how were you at school? What sort of character were you?
I was pretty keen, really. I was sort of I was like annoyingly keen, but not very intelligent. Like keen but intelligent.
A trier.
Trier.
Good.
I'm a real trier.
Yeah.
You can really see with my comedy that I think I'm a real trier. I think in the comedy circuit I was a real trier as well. I used to just gig all the time. And I was basically the best friend of the funniest guy in school. I was never the funniest guy. I was the best friend of the funniest guy. And he's still my best friend now, and he comes with me on tour. He's my tour manager, and so we've stayed in touch, and we have a great time. And it's I think that, and he would never dream of being a comedian because that's not in his nature. Whereas I feel like I've watched someone be funny my entire childhood, and I kind of know what to do. So as a kid I was fairly normal. Sort of grew up in a farming background, like in a sort of weird little tiny village, and a very naive upbringing, and I think again that works in my comedy. I think everything about my comedy is about naivety. It's about sort of going 100% into something and not understanding it, and
try parenthood.
Yeah, absolutely.
No idea what we're doing.
I can imagine. People used to say in the jungle, Adam, who's in the jungle, he just had a kid, the cutest kid, and we would always talk about like kids and relationships. We talked about relationships and stuff like that all the time, and everyone I was always like, I don't think I'm ready for a kid, for a child, and he was like, you never are. Like, you're not, even if you think you're prepared for it, it's so different from that. Or marriage. Yeah, or marriage, I can imagine. It's just like, you've just got to go head first into it and just keep being a trier. Like, you know, like you are in school, just like approach every situation like you've the best you can, I suppose. So we'll see whether I succeed at parenthood as much as I have at comedy.
Joel Dummett, thank you very much for joining us on Rutland Radio. It's been such a pleasure to have you in Stamford. Not only one night, two sold out. You know, you're top of the bill here.
Yeah, it's
you're top of the town.
Really lovely. It's a pleasure to be in such a wonderful town. Like it's lovely just to walk around. That's what I love about this tour is we're finding places in the UK that I just didn't even know exist, and I would have never known they exist. And it's really gives you a sense of what England is and what the UK is, and it's just it's really beautiful. There's some amazing, beautiful places, and some really nice people as well. There's also some absolutely horrific places and some horrific people. Really finding that out too, but yeah, it's really, really nice, and there's lots more touring to do. There's lots more seats to sell, and so hopefully I'll continue being as fun until the end of the year.
Rutland Radio.
My name's Mark Draper, and I'm one of the parent governors at Uppingham Church of England School.
And what's the Wellbeing Week all about?
Well, it's something that the school has arranged along with a local community interest group, and it's to try and encourage children to be kind of well-fed in the morning, to be in school on time. There's so many statistics, so many things and studies have been kind of like put in place to say, if your child can be in school on time with a full tummy, they are ready to learn and rearing to go with the day.
Is there a high number of children in the area that might not have the right preparation before their school day then?
Well, I mean, Rutland, as we all know, is a reasonably affluent area. So there's not a great deal of poverty in Rutland. Although, I'm sure if you go into any school, you'll see pockets of people who aren't quite so well off. And it's not even necessarily people that don't have the money. It's just being in a rush in the morning, being organised. And what we're trying to do here really is just to say, you know, that whole, I'm sure mums, parents are all aware of that. Right, get up, right, get changed. Right, after you get changed, brush your teeth. Right, get something to eat. Right, off you go to school. Well, that get something to eat and get to school on time. If you bring them here, we can do that.
And if this week goes well, is it something that the school might pursue?
You know, if this week goes well, because it is a bit of a pilot week and we're kind of living and learning like this morning, if it really goes well, then maybe September time, we as a school could try and roll this out 3 days a week. We could be the first school in the area that's giving children and parents free food, breakfast in the morning. Yeah, it's a winner on so many levels. Tesco Oakham has been supplying the food that the children and parents are eating all week. It's not cost us any money. The team at Tesco has been brilliant. They expected to sell more, so they've got an excess of stock. There's like bruised packaging or something like that. The corner of one of the cornflakes packets is a bit damaged, so they can't sell it. They've given it to us. So like stuff that would go to landfill, stuff that would go to waste, is now going in people's stomach.
Rutland Radio.
Well, Oliver, obviously looking good for the Looms Watch today here at Rockingham. We don't know quite yet, but you know, based on your performance so far today and over the 3-4 days.
Yeah, it's a great incentive. It's been a fantastic event. They've done really well with the weather. It's not been easy for them, but no, great.
Can you put this into context compared to Burley, which obviously is at the top of its field? You know, you're a regular competitor there, winner at Burley as well.
Yeah, obviously this is more to do with producing the horses, bringing the horses on to a higher level or teeing them up for the big events. I've had a couple of horses here that actually will run at Burley, hopefully. You never know. It's a fantastic setup, a fantastic setting, and an event that we love to be at. Unfortunately, for the last couple of years it's clashed with an event abroad that I've had to go to, but it's nice to be here.
Great, thanks for joining us on Rutland Radio. Good luck for the rest of the competition.
Thank you very much.
Firstly, Mark, could you tell us firstly about the weekend here as far as your horses and performance?
Well, I've had a pretty good weekend here. I've only bought 3 horses. I had 2 young ones in the 2-star on the first 2 days, and they went very well. And then I brought one back for today, try and win another Robert Looms watch, but that didn't work. But it's one of the best events on the calendar, really, and grows every year. And they've done an amazing job here this year because the weather was not the kindest, but they've battled on, and it's actually been really good.
Will we see you at Burley later this year?
I hope to be back for Burley this year, yeah.
It's amazing, isn't it, how quickly the calendar kind of comes up, really?
I know, we're already in the middle of the year. We're already looking to the autumn season, and then next thing you know, it'll be Christmas. So it does go very quick.
Well, thanks for joining us on Rutland Radio this weekend at Rockingham.
Thank you very much.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio podcast.
Yes, it is. Goes from Thursday night, 5 o'clock start with a beer festival, all the way through till late Monday afternoon.
Now, I suppose it's sort of grown out of a village fete, hasn't it? You know, you still have that day itself, for instance.
Yes, indeed.
And you've moved the fete for the first time to the Monday rather than the Sunday.
Yes, that's correct. Trying to make it easy for people. You know, you don't want live music till 11 o'clock at night on the day before everybody's going back to work, you know. So that's why we moved it.
Now, Easton's Got Talent. I take my hats off to anyone who organises something like this, because it's tough, isn't it? There are some people who are born exhibitionists, and there's some people who would quite like the idea. Is it the toughest part to kind of fill that stage?
Yes, it is. It's been a real problem this year trying to keep it fresh. And what we've done is gone away slightly. We're having a Master Chef thing, which we're recording at the Stamford College with a few teams, and then put it on at the night, and haven't said who's the winners. Then in the evening after that is games, and Easton's Got Talent again, you know, various people putting little skits on, etc. So that's still going. It's very much a family day.
Now, soul music has, for quite a time, actually been an integral part of the Village Gala, hasn't it?
Yes, it's still there on Friday night. We got 3 Northern Soul bands going up till 1 o'clock in the morning.
And obviously your pet show's part of the fete day, isn't it?
That's correct. Pet show starts at 11, registration at 10:30, so the pet show runs from 11 till 12, and then from then on until about 4 o'clock we've got various things going on, music, etc. And then between 4 and 5 will be the raffle, or the result of the raffle.
Now, weather permitting, fingers crossed, everything crossed, undercarriages crossed, you know, there's going to be some amazing sight in the sky as well.
Hopefully, Spitfire do an overflight and the Red Arrows, which they did last year as well, so they've kindly said they'll come and do it again this year.
Can't get much better than those, can you really?
No, not at all, yeah.
And the Easton on the Hill Village Gala is all about Easton.
Yes, it is. It's all about the clubs in the village. A huge range of clubs, you know, bowling club, history club, all sorts of things like this that all take part, put teams in to Easton's Got Talent, and keep it going. That's the whole thing, keep it going. And on the fete day, they've all got stalls, little games going, etc., you know.
And money raised goes back to them as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, all the money goes back into the village, all of it, you know, to the people that take part and where we can help.
Rutland Radio.
Chelsea Flower Show this week, of course. Yesterday was the big press day. Her Majesty was there. Mary Berry was there. I wonder if Mary managed to catch a sight of Barnsdale Gardens' entry in the pavilion. Nick Hamilton joins us now. Nick, you've got the results of the judging.
Yes, I have, Rob. Very pleased. We got a silver gilt.
Excellent. Well done on that. So tell us about your garden, 50 years of Gardener's World.
Yeah, 50 years of Gardener's World. So we managed to sneak a few presenters in the stand. So we've represented Percy Thrower in there. Obviously my dad with several different things in there. We actually one of the main sort of highlights of my dad was his muddy knee jeans that we put in as a 2 pairs to create a pathway in there, which I don't think they've had jeans used as a pathway at Chelsea before. So that was a first.
I think in a way he was maybe the first TV gardener to dress in shirt and jeans, and now everyone does it.
Oh, absolutely. I think they, you know, the funny thing is that people said, oh, you know, it just showed that he was a down-to-earth gardener. To be honest, he didn't possess a jacket and tie.
Yeah.
So that's probably more the reason for that. But yeah, so he's in there with several things, and you know, Alan Titchmarsh, we've highlighted, Carol Klein, and we've got a couple of plants from her garden in there, as well as that she bought up, that she was going to sort of she bought a whole load of plants when she came up to open the winter border. So we grew some of those on and popped up a plant or 2 in the display there, as well as the cottage garden style. She gardens very much as we do at Barnsdale, you know, in that very sort of English cottage garden style. So we use that style really to highlight us and also to highlight her. And then 1 or 2 other presenters, less known presenters as well, that we put in there. But a very, very floral display.
How many years have you been putting a garden into Chelsea now?
I have absolutely no idea, Rob. It's too long to remember. I've probably been going down to Chelsea for about 20 years now.
And describe the atmosphere for anyone who does go there. I've only ever seen it on TV. One year I really must go, but it just looks an enormous feat, really.
I mean, I think sometimes, it can be a little bit overwhelming the first time you go, because there's so much there to see, and so much work's gone into creating these great, whether they're the big outdoor gardens or the smaller outdoor gardens, or in the great pavilion as we are with the very sort of floral displays. It can be a little bit overwhelming the first time, but to go there to see plants at their best, great displays and great ideas and things is fabulous. The one thing I would say is that if you've never been before and you go for the first time, then just practice sticking your elbows out, because it's quite busy, and you do find that that's what people do a lot, just to create a little bit of space for themselves when they want to stand and look at a display.
But probably not on the Monday if there's a lady with a hat on dressed in blue.
No, generally not on a Monday. But then you can't get close, can't get close enough unless you come to your stand. But we saw, there are lots of celebrities and things about yesterday as well. And it's surprising actually, a lot of people that you see and you think, never really would have put you down as a gardener, which is an odd thing to think, because at the end of the day, why should a gardener be of any particular way, But lots of people about, and the Queen is is keen on going. She comes every year because she loves it,
As I know you do as well. And Nick Hamilton from Bardsdale Gardens, thanks for joining us, and congratulations on your silver gilt at Chelsea this year.
Thank you very much.
Rutland Radio's Best Bits on the podcast.
Carol Hughes from the Stamford charity Adders Hope is with me this morning. Now,
Good morning.
You've actually been involved for a few years, haven't you?
Yes, we've been involved with the Perkins Great Eastern Run now for 9 years. And 3 years ago now, the Anna's Hope 5K Fun Run was named in her honour. And that means so much to me. It's a fantastic day and brings all the community together. And it's on the same time as the half marathon, which is one of the fastest in the country. So we feel really privileged as a charity, and Anna's mum, and I'm the starter, and we have a really fun time. And as the years have passed, there's so many more families and businesses getting involved now, and with Team Anna's Hope, we're wanting you all to join in, and the places are really filling up already, so please don't wait till October. The race is now open and you can register now, and it's just a great day.
And the work of Anna's Hope is still as very much vital and badly needed as ever, isn't it? You've been going for over 10 years and it's still finding children and young people affected by this.
Oh, absolutely. For those that you don't know, I lost my little girl Anna to a brain tumour now 11 years ago, 2 Mondays ago actually. Brain tumours are the biggest cancer killer now in children and young people, and it's frightening, and there are loads around this area at the moment, and they seem to come in clusters, but we're helping them. Any child now that's been touched by a brain tumour in the east of England can now be supported by Anna's Hope with our rehabilitation team. What we're doing is pioneering. We've started a service called Brainbow, and we are the major funders of it, and we fund all rehabilitation for any child.
And the team actually based at Addenbrooke, so they're basically to help the child get back into school, to as normal a way of life as possible, because this can be really devastating, can't it?
Absolutely. It's not just devastating for the child, it's devastating for the whole family. So we do help the children go back into school and back into society and to live a life like any other child, to reach their best potential the same as any other child. We also do support groups for the parents. We also do away days as well for the children and their families. People think that children with brain tumours would love to go to Disney. Well, of course they would, but they only function like you and I for 2 hours a day, so just short experiences are good for them. And that's what we're doing. To help a child for 1 week, it costs £30. To help a child for 1 month, it costs £125. And if you can raise £30 or more, you can wear one of our t-shirts. They'll get chip pinned. That tells them obviously how fast or slow. But it doesn't have to be a family. If you're listening out there and think, do you know what? On the back of the London Marathon, you will think, oh, we can do that. Would love to do it. Well, now's your chance. I'm challenging you to help Team Anna's Hope, to help us make a difference for all those children out there.
Rutland Radio.
So it's Stamford Corn Exchange very soon. You've probably seen the posters, the banners around for Annie with Sam's. I'm here with Chairman Adrian Morgan. Now, final rehearsals just going on in the background just there.
Yes, it's been a challenging show, Rob. We've made the unprecedented decision this year to run 2 child casts for our orphans, which as a result has been double the rehearsal work for the adults, or half the rehearsal work for the children, whichever way you want to look at it.
And two Annies as part of that as well.
2 Annies, 2 sets of speaking orphans, 2 lots of dance routines, all the choreography that goes with that. Fantastic team effort, but superbly coordinated by Joe Henderson and Sharon Middleton. My thanks go out to them. The cast, sterling job from all the cast, excellent musical direction from Reese, our musical director. A must-see show, really. Can't emphasise enough. Really do get your tickets. It's a great feel-good family show. Tickets are already selling really fast, so do get them booked at the Corn Exchange.
It is great, isn't it, when you actually get one of those names that everyone will know?
Yes, that's right. And, of course, with Miranda Hart just recently launching the same show at the West End, there's been an awful lot of hype and publicity surrounding the show itself. So, come along and see your own version of Stamford West End, really.
So, dates and times and tickets?
So, the show opens next Wednesday, that's the 31st of May at 7:30, and then runs through until Sunday the 4th of June. And we do actually have a matinee on that Sunday, so take a look at the theatre Stamford Corn Exchange online for all the times, but evening performances are 7:30 and matinee shows are at 2:30.
I bet you can't wait after all these months.
No, we can't, and with the great success we had last year with Sister Act, which has been nominated for Best Musical by NODA, the Society is on a high and obviously very keen to keep up that sort of feel-good factor that the audiences love and appreciate of SAMS.
Adrian Morgan, Chairman of SAMS, thanks very much for joining us on Rutland Radio, and Annie, cast, break a leg, have an amazing time, starts next Wednesday.
Thank you, Rob, thanks very much.
Okay, well, I'm Emma Wheeler, and I play Annie in Annie.
Now, there's you and Chloe sharing the part, isn't there, on different nights?
Yes, different nights.
And has Chloe's American accent kind of rubbed off on you?
Yeah, I think so. That's meant to be the point. We were meant to learn from each other, so that's a good thing.
Have you done anything like this before?
I did the pantomime in the winter, but no, not really.
And what's going to be your favourite moment, actually, when you perform the show?
I'm not sure. I really like Maybe, but yeah, I really don't know.
Is everyone... It just feels like everyone's buzzing in here tonight.
Yeah, it's the first rehearsal on the actual stage, so it's quite exciting.
And anything else people ought to look out for?
I don't really know. I think come on Sunday matinee. That's the one I'm on. I'm on other ones, but I can't remember.
Rutland Radio.
It's Rutland Radio as we head towards the bank holiday weekend. This bank holiday Monday is the second Hue and Cry, the annual event where the High Sheriff basically calls a hue and cry. This is how it all used to be in years gone by. Of course, the High Sheriff is a traditionally historic position of many hundreds of years ago. The current High Sheriff for Rutland is Craig Mitchell. And tell us how the hue and cry used to work and how it originated.
Well, good morning, Rob, and thank you. The hue and cry goes back many hundreds of years when the Sheriff had real powers, and he was the Queen's representative and was able to put a posse together. The posse would be a group of men chasing after villains, and that's exactly what they did. They went in hot pursuit of some wrongdoers, and I'm not sure what happened to the villains when they were caught, but I suspect they had a bad time of it.
Now, it's far the other way, really, these days. This is effectively a running race down the high street, pursuing a man who should be carrying a swag bag, basically.
Something like that, yeah. And the attraction is, I think, generally speaking, for younger children to be there to pursue the villain and get their reward at the end for driving the villain into the arms of the High Sheriff, who'll put together some kind of arrest for him, I would think. And yes, we want the children to have a good fun time and get something for their troubles.
Now, there is a registration charge for this, isn't there?
Yes, it's the only entry fee in the whole day. We're charging £2 for adults and just £1 for each child who wants to pursue the villain. And the starting point is going to be at the top end of the High Street, close to New Street, and register there, and register from 1 o'clock. The events will start a little bit earlier than that, probably about 12:30, but there are various other things going on in the High Street and the marketplace, and of course in the compound at the castle as well, where the county council is running an event as well.
Yeah, it's all going very medieval, as would befit
Yes, I think
Oakham Castle, I guess.
That's right. And we're hoping to attract a lot of people into the town over the Monday. I gather last year there were something like, estimated to be about 3,000 people there. And if we can achieve that, I'll be delighted.
Yeah, it was certainly great atmosphere.
We hope to raise a few pounds for my 3 charities, Air Ambulance and Dove Cottage Hospice and Warning Sounds. But the only entry fees will be payable for the children entering the races.
Are you doing adult races as well this year?
Yes, we will do, as demanded. We expect to do 5 or 6 races. And Barbara Trellin will be there, and she's going to be running the races for us. She's well known locally.
Indeed, Rutland's Queen of Sport, as she's now been christened. I don't know whether you've heard that moniker. I think she quite likes it, to be honest.
She was with me last night, and we were putting up the no waiting signs in High Street, and I'm not sure she felt like the Queen of Sport then, but
no.
That's the other side of the job.
Now, obviously the High Street's going to be closed to allow this to happen. What sort of time on Monday do you think that closure will actually kick in?
Well, the closure is effective from 7 a.m, believe it or not. It's an early start. And the highways people will be putting up barriers. From New Street right down to Burley Road, the High Street will be closed to traffic. On Church Street, it'll also be closed from Northgate into High Street. And there's going to be, we hope, a small fun fair there, which will add some fun to the day. And the Rutland Morris men are going to be dancing, and also the Westerby Basset Hounds are going to do a run through the High Street as well. So there'll be lots of interesting things going on.
So a real festival for Bank Holiday Monday afternoon in Oakham.
That's the plan.
So if you pop along from about 12:30, registration will open at 1 o'clock. The hue and cry itself will sound from 1:30. We'll get that hunting horn, and we'll get 5 or 6 races going down the High Street and raise lots of money for you.
Spot on. Thank you.
Craig Mitchell, Rutland's High Sheriff, thank you very much for joining us on Rutland Radio. And please do, if you are free on Monday, support this great event in Oakham, the annual Hue and Cry.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
Well, first of all, welcome to Rutland Radio. And do you know, actually speaking to you takes me back to being in the audience of a TV show, which was called The Saturday Show. And it was all around the time that John Hurt was promoting the film, all about your Grand National success. And I'm fairly sure John Hurt was on the show and you were on the show actually together.
I think we were. We did a little bit of promotion together. He was a fantastic man. Sadly, he died a couple of months ago.
Now, let's talk about the Grand National victory of 1981. You've said so many times you entered that race, you won that race for those in hospital who were fighting cancer, just like you had actually come through.
Yes, it was true. Of course, I wanted to win it as a jockey. But, when I went by the post, I just thought, basically that's going to give people a hell of a boost that are suffering and going through the treatment in hospital. And I've managed to get through it and come out and win a Grand National.
And you went on to establish the Bob Champion Cancer Trust in 1983, just a couple of years afterwards.
Yes, we did, yeah. And it wasn't really me that set it up. It was people who backed me in the Grand National. They sent their winnings to the Royal Marsden, where I had all my treatment. And Nick Embrigos, the horse's owner, and Professor Peckham, who was my doctor, thought it'd be a good idea to set it up. It's still going. We've got 2 research laboratories now. One in London at the Marsden and one at Norwich in the Science Park. And the one in Norwich is something spectacular.
Now, you're going to be joining our Jeanette from Uppingham, somewhere on her walk, in high heels, London to Brighton. I presume you're not wearing that kind of footwear yourself?
No, I think I'll be quite normal.
Yes.
I don't think I'd walk very well in high heels.
Jeanette has raised with Lucy a phenomenal amount of money.
She has. I've got to admire her. I met her at a function, actually, and just got talking. And the next thing she rang me and said she wants to walk in high heels from London to Brighton. I thought it was mad, really, but, she's a fit person. She'll do it fine, and she's raised a lot of money, and I admire her for it.
Bob Champion, thank you very much for joining us on Rutland Radio today. I know a lot of people from our area have given money to help, somewhere around £6,000 that's been raised for this charity walk, which of course is this weekend. And thanks very much for joining us on Rutland Radio. Really nice to chat to you.
And thank them all for donating. I really appreciate it.
Rutland Radio.
My name's Malcolm Brown. I'm the bar manager and Carol's partner within the business. Carol is the landlady, Carol Frith. Basically what happened, we had Storm Doris has come down on the 23rd of February. We weren't here actually, we were in Lanzarote sunning it up and fetched a chimney down, a 30-foot chimney with about between 8 and 10 tonne of bricks. which basically went through the back cellar, wiping out all the fridges, the freezers, the gas, the water, the electric, the pipelines to the gas, the bottled gas, the cooling system, shelving, kitchen units, TVs, TV stackers. And with it being a Grade 1 listed, it's hit part of the roof, and the total damage is estimated at about £250,000. We're trying now to get all the food back in order. Whilst we were closed, EI Group, which is Enterprise, they totally refurbished the beer garden, and so it's brand new setup for the beer garden.
So have you had a lot of support from the community?
Yeah, basically when it first happened, the fire brigade were here within 2 minutes. They shut us down. There were 2 members of staff on. Again, the fire brigade made sure that they were okay. They were shook up, but nobody was hurt, which is the best thing. We don't want anybody injured. Then you get your local people around you that's saying, "Oh, it's glad to see you back open again." When were you open? Because we've been here cleaning and all the rest of it for the last 2 weeks. When are you reopening? We need you back open. So yeah, local community, i.e. the public, have been so interested in us reopening. They thought we'd vanished out in thin air.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio Podcast.
So how's it gone this week?
It's gone fantastic. It's been really, really good. The most we had in on one day was 90. The very least we had in was 45. So I think in total we've fed about 300 odd breakfasts over the week. It's been fantastic. Really good.
Do you know the total amount of food or donations that you've had?
Oh gosh, Lydia, Tesco have been brilliant. They've provided us with so much cereal and bread and eggs and stuff like that. One of the local butchers in Uppingham, Nelson's Butchers, provided everyone with sausages today. So we had Sausage Friday. The children loved it and the adults loved it. We've just found out that One Stop Shop, we applied for some money, a grant from them, have given us £1,000 for us to help set it up in September. So it's just been marvellous. It's been absolutely, it's just taken off so much.
So is this something that you are going to try and do in September?
It would be difficult to me to say, I promise we'll do it, but we're going to do our utmost in September, October to make this a kind of 3-day-a-week regular event, a free breakfast for children and parents. Yes, we're going to do our very best to try and provide.
Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website, rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to rutlandradio.co.uk.